So you've probably had this happen. You're in your kitchen, you're talking with a friend, you're talking about replacing maybe the tires on your car. And a couple of hours later, your phone serves up ads for tire shops and coupons and YouTube reviews, even all about tread life. You didn't search it, you didn't type it, you just spoke out loud. And yet somehow, there it is. That little shiver you feel isn't paranoia. It's the reality of our culture now. Welcome to the Surveilled Society. Okay, today we're not just talking about the technology that spies and stores and tracks. We're going a little deeper. We're talking about how surveillance reshapes us, how ordinary people in ordinary lives start living like being watched, even when there is nobody else in the room. Because here's the hard truth. We don't need somebody in a trench coat following us anymore. We volunteered. We carry the surveillance ourselves. We bought it for our homes. We pay monthly subscriptions for it. And worst of all, we censor ourselves before anyone else has to. Let's go through it. Okay. Surveillance didn't show up riding tanks down Main Street. It came in the form of sleek packaging, glowing reviews, and the promises of convenience. Smart doorbells to keep our home safe. Smart speakers to just make life easier. GPS tracking that saves us time. Fitness watches to help us live healthier. Now, I'm going to tell you, my household has all of these. All of these. We got a Ring doorbell. We've got an Alexa. We use GPSs in the car. And my wife has a fitness watch that we bought for Mother's Day. Well, because she wanted it. That's why we got it for Mother's Day. Don't judge. At this point, we just get her whatever she wants. Okay, now that Ring doorbell doesn't just watch our front porch. It records my neighbors, people walking down the street, kids playing in the yard, the delivery guy. And it sends that footage on my nickel to a server I don't know where. Somewhere in Jeff Bezos' land. Okay. Owned by a corporation with its own deals and interests. That Alexa speaker, more of Bezos land, doesn't just set timers. It records conversations, even when you don't call its name. Alexa. You know, you can call it Ziggy. Did you know that? Or just computer like your Mr. Scott on Star Trek. Okay. And sometimes those recordings actually end up in human hands. The GPS app doesn't just shave 12 minutes off my commute. It learns my habits. Have you figured that out, where it knows where I go? And you can say stuff like, how far from home? It knows where home is. How's the drive to church? How's the drive to work? It knows. That data is worth more than gold to advertisers, to insurers, and yes, even to the government. All right, let's just walk through a day. Let's just walk through just a typical day. It's 7 a.m. Our phone tracks how long I've slept. You ever use one of those apps? And maybe even how restless you were. Did I have a good sleep? When I got out of the hospital after my heart surgery, it was really important that I have good sleep. So yes, I found an app that traced my sleep. Did I snore? Was I talking in my sleep? Did I get good rest? That was important. So yes, it knows how. 7:15. I check the weather. And now the universe knows where I am. Because I don't check the weather for Walla Walla, Washington. I don't check the weather for Dubai. I check the weather for where I am. 7:30. If you have a smart coffee maker, which I do not, I don't see any reason to connect my coffee maker to the internet or my refrigerator to the internet. But some of you have those, right? It turns on and it reports back to the manufacturer about how it's being used, what time comes on, how long it stays on, how many times you use it. Right? So at 8 o'clock, you're driving to work. Your car uploads its GPS data because you've got navigation in your car, right? It knows the speed you're going. If you're a heavy braker, it knows all that. As a matter of fact, with the insurance thing that we had for a while, our phone told on us how fast we were going, whether we were driving at night, how we did curves, how we braked, the whole nine. Anything to get a discount, right? Because car insurance, especially here where I live, is very freaking expensive. So yeah, we volunteered. Watch me. Please watch me. I'm doing good. Am I doing good? Watch me. Okay. So we get to work. Your key card longs your entry. You don't have a key. You have a card. Boop. Right. Open the door. It knows when you got there. The camera's on. Okay. There are cameras a lot of times in where you work that know when you get up to go to the bathroom or go to talk to a coworker or just get up to stretch and walk around. The camera knows. So it's 12:15 now. You're ready. You run down the lunch and you pay with a debit card. The bank records where you were, what you bought, and how much it was. Right? All right, you go back to work, 5:30. You stop at the store. Your loyalty card logs your purchase because you want to use your loyalty card because you're trying to get that discount to make life a little less expensive, right? 8 o'clock. You're doom scrolling social media because you're dead inside, right? Every click, every pause, everything you look at, every like is recorded. It's 11 o'clock. Your smart TV, and we've got smart. Who doesn't have a smart TV? Who doesn't have a smart TV? Notes what we've watched before we go to bed. So by the end of one normal Tuesday, just a normal Tuesday, we have left behind more digital footprints than the East German Stasi could have gathered in a year. In one day, in one normal Tuesday. Wow. And I'm not saying that I'm different than you. I'm exactly the same as you. And the brilliance of all of this is that nobody forced us. We bought the bug. We installed the microphone. We strapped on the tracker because the pitch worked. This will make your life safer and easier. And the more anxious we became, the more we wanted safety. The more busy we became, the more we wanted convenience. And surveillance stepped in and said, hey, we'll give you both. Just sign right here. But hidden in that contract is a fine print. In order to get that, we're always watching. Now, technology changed the tools really, but culture has changed the rules. There was a time, and I know that a lot of people who are watching this because I've seen the demographics are from my age, right? And there was a time when privacy was the default. You didn't know what your neighbor ate for dinner. You just didn't know unless you were invited to dinner. You didn't have any idea. Our guess is what they're eating something similar to what we're eating. Nobody thought twice if you didn't post about your vacation, if you didn't tell people about your vacation. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't remember. And even people my age, it's been a long time since we've been here. Turning off your telephone, your cell phone for the weekend wasn't suspicious. It was normal. You get home from work on Friday, turn that thing off, you put it you put it in that top drawer, and it didn't come out until Monday morning. That wasn't suspicious. It was just normal life. If someone needed to get a hold of you, you had what? You had the home phone. You had that number. If someone needed to get a hold of you to invite you to a golf game or to a barbecue or something fun to do, ball game, they call you on that phone. You had a home phone, right? It was normal. But now, silence, being incognito, looks a little weird. If you don't post, people wonder what you're hiding, right? If a teenager doesn't have Instagram, people think, huh, that's weird. All the teenagers have Instagram. If you turn your phone off, your friends start wondering if you're okay. I tried to call him. I tried to text him. I haven't heard from him. Right? And you know what? And don't get so high and mighty because you try to text people too or call them and they've not answered and you've gotten worried too. So don't feel it's all high and mighty. We've all been there. The shift is profound, really. Privacy is no longer neutral, suspect. But here is where the surveilled society gets dangerous. We don't need anyone else to police us. We police ourselves. You don't tweet that joke because you're afraid it didn't age well, right? I don't know if you heard, but the FAMU stadium announcer a couple of weeks ago made a joke about the dance team from another college, and they're called the Honeybees. You can look that up. And he basically calls them something like the poster child for Ozempic. Not good. Not good. That joke did not age well. As a matter of fact, as it was coming out of his mouth onto the microphone, it was like curdled milk. That's how well it did not age, right? But we sometimes will not tweet that joke or share that joke because you know, it's not going to hit well. So we self censor. And sometimes some of us, of course, this is not me because you know what I do. You don't post that opinion because you know that people will mob the mob will hop in and then you have to deal with that. So you don't talk openly at work because HR software might flag it. Bit by bit, people learn to clip their own wings. Freedom shrinks, not by force, but by habit. That's the deepest victory of surveillance. The camera doesn't need to be on you. It just needs you to believe it might be. A lot of us, because we're a little older, we can't imagine. But imagine growing up in this. Kids today have never known what it means to be unrecorded. From ultrasound photos on Facebook to TikTok dances at recess. Their entire lives are documented. Every awkward haircut, every bad grade, every middle school joke, all stored online, everywhere, forever. Schools feed it too. Student ID cards that track attendance, cameras cover every hallway because this is what we want because we want our children to be safe. So there are cameras everywhere. The only place where we don't have cameras that we know about is the bathroom, the locker rooms. And maybe soon that'll come to an end too. But even bathroom breaks get logged in some districts. Well, the cameras on the outside as you go in and as you come out, right? By the time a child turns 18, they already have a digital file thicker than an FBI folder. So, how do you become a free adult if you've never once felt unseen? Ask yourself, what did privacy mean to you when you were a kid? Maybe you built a fort in the woods. Maybe you whispered secrets to your best friend, knowing no adult would hear. Maybe you wrote in a diary that you knew that nobody else would read. That experience, the ability to test, fail, and dream in private, it's almost gone. Today's children grow up with cameras in the classrooms, phones on the playgrounds, parents tracking every move through apps because we want our kids to be safe. We want to know where they are. So you hand them the tracking device, you tell them to keep it on, and your tracking device tracks them all day long, every day. The next generation isn't just used to being watched. They don't even realize it's kind of weird. This episode of the Morning Report is brought to you by our friends at 7 Weeks Coffee. You know, when we talk about a surveillance society, we're talking about choices. Choices about who we support, where we spend our money, and what values we fund. 7 Weeks Coffee is a pro-life coffee company that puts their money where their mouth is. 10% a time of every sale goes directly to pregnancy care centers across the country. That means that every cup that you drink supports mothers, protects children, and builds a culture of life. It's a coffee with a purpose. So head over to 7weekscoffee.com and use the promo code FightbackMedia for 15% off your first order. That's 7 Weeks Coffee. Promo code FightbackMedia. Start your day with a brew that makes a difference. Technology didn't march into our lives wearing a badge. It came smiling with helpful promises. The promise was simple. We'll keep you safe. We'll make your life easier. And that combination was completely and totally irresistible. We talked about some of the things that I've got. A ring doorbell. It's hard to imagine, especially in some neighborhoods. All you have to do is drive down the street and look. Ring doorbells promise to protect packages from porch pirates. The reason I have a ring doorbell is that I participated in a promotion for T-Mobile, got a new phone. And part of that promotion was that we got a new TV. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to pay, money for this phone. But you know what? It comes with a TV. It comes with a TV, a 55-inch television. I'm like, yeah, give me some of that. Give me a big heaping helping of a 55-inch TV, right? So, waiting for the TV to get here. They sent it by FedEx. I'll mention their name because at this point I don't care. They can come after me, and if they do, they're going to find out the truth. So this is when my son was driving me to work still. I think I was still recovering from my heart surgery, and we got the notice on my phone that, oh, the package that we've been waiting for today, the television we were waiting all day, had been delivered. So we were about 5 minutes away from the house. We zip around, go back to the house, and as we're driving up to the house, we see just nothing on the door on the doorstep. It's not there. So we look around the house. Maybe he tucked it away somewhere. No. So go off to work. End up calling FedEx, and they say, "Oh no, the package has been delivered." And I say, "That's nice, except that it hasn't been delivered." And we go back and forth, which is insane, right? And we go back and forth. Uh, Package had not been delivered. I ended up going back and forth with Samsung, calling them every day, because it was a Samsung TV, every day for like a month. I ruined somebody's day every day for a month. Can you imagine me? Yes, you can you? Anyway, long story short, it's already been too long. I We got the TV, and I had guessed that the TV had been stolen. And it was a big deal back in 2014, that people would follow trucks around, follow delivery trucks, Amazon trucks, UPS, DHL, FedEx trucks, and whatever they left on the doorstep, they would swoop right in and grab it off the other direction, right? So you know what I did? Bought a Ring doorbell. It was kind of like closing the barn after the cows got out, right? But bought a Ring doorbell. I thought, this is not going to happen to me ever again, and if it happens to me, I'm going to catch the son of a bitch. This is how it was, right? So the marketing leaned into that. Strangers at my door, unknown figures at night, people stealing my TV right off my doorstep, right? However, Ring has direct data sharing arrangement with police departments across the country. My porch camera isn't just mine. It's part of a neighborhood surveillance grid that I didn't vote on. GPS apps promise to save us from traffic, and they do, kinda. But those companies also harvest precise location data: where I live, where I work, uh, where I go to church, and how often do I go, my favorite restaurants, and it does because I've seen it. What nights you tend to stay out late. To an advertiser or to an insurance company, this is priceless information. Smartwatches promise to improve our health. They count our steps, they log our sleep, they check our heart rate. But in court cases, Fitbit data has been used to challenge alibis. You say you were here, but we have data that says you weren't anywhere near there. In workplaces, segregated data is also sold to insurers, who then adjust coverage based on population health trends. What started as a self improvement program becomes surveillance at scale. Every device repeats the same script: trust us, trust us. We're here to help. But in every case, the help comes with a catch. You get convenience, they get control. Okay, now we love the word free. Free, if it's free, is for me. Free apps, free storage, free social media. But friends, nothing is free. If you aren't paying with money, you're paying with yourself. Think about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You don't get a bill. but because you, me, are the product. Our attention is sold. Our behavior is studied. Our impulses are mapped and nudged. We talk about on TikTok all the time. There's the MAGA side of TikTok. There's the Biden side of TikTok. There's the single side. Why? Because TikTok is like, yeah, this person is over here. We'll show them this stuff. Free has become the most expensive word in the digital world because surveillance doesn't stop at your door. It also follows you to your job. A lot of you, and even into your faith community. What? In the church? Here's some examples for in the workplace. Keystroke logging software monitors how often you type because they want to see if you're working. So they do some keystroke nonsense, right? Now, of course, what do? We find ways around that. Bossware takes random screenshots of your worker's computer. Right? Just see what you're doing. See if you're shopping on Amazon instead of doing your work. Cameras watch break rooms and shop floors to see what people are doing. ID badges track when you arrive, when you leave, how often you go to the bathroom. What used to be measured by results is now measured by constant observation. It breeds paranoia. Employees don't ask, did I finish my work? Well, they ask us, did I look busy enough? In churches, live stream cameras record entire services. Digital giving platforms track donations, your time, your offerings. A lot of churches use apps for attendance. Worship, one of the most private and personal acts, is now generates a data trail. What used to be a conversation between you and God becomes another record in a corporate ledger. So when even faith communities normalize surveillance, it reinforces the idea that no space is sacred. No corner of life is untouched. This episode is sponsored by 7 Weeks Coffee. Let me tell you why I partner with them. 7 Weeks isn't just about good beans. It's about good value. Every bag supports pregnancy care centers across the country. That means real help for moms, real resources for babies, real hope for families. When you drink 7 Weeks Coffee, you're choosing to back life, not big corporations. So head over to 7weekscoffee.com and use the promo code FightbackMedia for 15% off your first order. That's 7weekscoffee.com. Promo code FightbackMedia. Start every morning with purpose. All right, now this isn't abstract. It plays out in real lives. It's not just some weird thing we're talking about. We've all seen these too. Neighborhood apps. People share ring footage of suspicious strangers. If you have not signed up for the neighborhood app, don't. Absolutely, positively do not. They need to call the Karen app. Don't do it. I get notifications. They go, I hear helicopters. And anybody know what that is? No. No. Oh my God, it's awful. Sometimes it's helpful. Most times it's just awful. It's awful. Profiling in real time, yeah. Turning neighbors into amateur cops, yeah, and bad. I mean, not just amateur cops, but bad amateur cops. Smart cars, okay. Insurance companies now offer uses-based insurance. Translation: your car tells on you. Just like we had that program with our car that our cars that Geico had. But apparently I graduated. We did so well that we graduated. My son and I do most of the driving, but we graduated from the program. I guess we did well enough to where they didn't want to watch us anymore. And I'm guessing that because we don't have it installed anymore, they're not watching us. Maybe. Anyway, medical tech, Fitbits, Apple Watches, track steps, heart rates, and sleep. That sounds personal, but companies use it in the aggregate to negotiate insurance contracts. In some cases, courts have admitted Fitbit data as evidence. Retail loyalty cards. Every purchase you make builds a profile. Now, I know we have loyalty cards because we want to save a buck. But as we build those, as we use them each time, it keeps track of what we purchase and when we purchase it and how much of it we purchase. And they use that data, right? The toothpaste I buy, the cereal that we eat, the magazines we read, magazines. Okay. If you still read magazines, yeah, leave me a comment. Uh, all paint a picture of who you are, what you value, and how to market it to you. So by the time you finish an ordinary Tuesday, a dozen corporations and multiple government agencies know more about your habits than your closest friends. Now, part of the real genius of the surveilled society is that it doesn't need to enforce obedience. It's crazy. It just needs to train us to expect it. Students expect cameras in the classroom. Drivers expect GPS tracking. Workers expect software that times bathroom breaks. Expect it. Think of TSA at airports. 20 years ago, taking off your shoes, emptying water bottles, and being scanned would have felt humiliating. You were simply have felt like, oh, they think I'm the criminal, right? Today, it's just routine. People do it without thinking. People make sure that they're not even wearing shoes that are a big deal to take off. It's just slide. They just slide them off, put them in the little plastic thing, right? We learned that we walk onto the plane with as few clothes as possible, right? Unfortunately, I have to wear a belt all the time, so that's always a problem. Right? Always a problem. I always have car keys, so that's always a problem. Um, but we get used to it, right? It's normal. Once constant monitoring feels normal, freedom doesn't need to be stripped away. It's already been surrendered. So, right now, my friends, we stand at a crossroads. Two futures are visible. Future one, total immersion. In total immersion, every object reports data. Fridges count calories. TVs report what we watch. Cars report how we drive. Watches report our heart rhythms. Living without digital devices is labeled suspicious. Privacy becomes impossible, maybe even illegal. Future two, the backlash. Enough people wake up to the cost and demand real change. Laws with teeth. Tech that works without surveillance. Parents teaching kids that private time is normal, not shady. Companies competing on privacy instead of eroding it. Which road we take depends on ordinary people, not elites, not tech CEOs, but on whether families, churches, neighborhoods, and regular citizens say, we will not live every second under a lens. Okay, this episode is also made possible by our friends at 7 Weeks Coffee. Look, if you're tired of pouring your money into brands that don't share your values, here's your alternative. Seven Weeks Coffee is pro-life to the core. Every cup funds care for moms and babies. It's quality coffee with eternal impact. So make the swap. Go over to 7 Weeks Coffee and use the code Fightback Media and get 15% off. That's 7weekscoffee.com. Promo code Fightback Media. Brew life into your mornings. Right. Now, okay. We can't shut down Silicon Valley ourselves, but we can choose differently. If it's possible, leave your phone home sometimes. Definitely turn off the location sharing. Choose not. And this is somebody who is on this platform all the time. But you know what? Don't post everything. Choose to keep certain things, not posted. Teach your kids that privacy is healthy. Support companies that respect data rights. Resistance doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's as small as carving out an hour that isn't recorded. As small as having a conversation that's not posted. As small as laughing without sharing the video. Watch it, enjoy it yourself, go on with life. Those acts may look minor, but they reclaim something priceless. The ability to live unobserved. All right. The surveilled society isn't just cameras and servers. It's that inner voice we've trained to whisper. Don't say that. Don't try that. Don't stand out. That's the deepest form of control. Not what others do to us, but what we do to ourselves. The path back to freedom won't come in one dramatic sweep. It will come in a series of small decisions. Choosing to live as someone isn't watching. Choosing to speak even if an algorithm doesn't approve. Choosing to keep moments sacred, hidden, just for you and God. Freedom dies when people forget how to live without being observed. Freedom will return when people dare to live privately again. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, you take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.